Hello and welcome to our thrifty and frugal home here in Brittany in northwest France. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for coming back. Now, if you're new here, I'm going to get this over and done with. Please go on, hit the subscribe button. We are so close to 3,000 subscribers. Let's get there this video. Let's do it this time. Anyway, back to the subject in hand. On my community page and on my Facebook page, I ask people about their biggest budgeting problems. And over again, the budgeting problem was always about food. People would write a list and ignore it. People would write a budget and not stick to it. People would go into a supermarket and be seduced by what were offers and lovely things, and they couldn't agree on a budget or they just didn't stick to it. So here's the thing today. How do we stick to our food budget? So I got people to tell me the problems that they were facing, and I've written a list of things that they were saying. They were not sticking to their shopping list. They were not sticking to their budget because they were browsing in the supermarket and then impulse buying. They were not eating the food they had in the house and just fancied something different and just went shopping. And they were not meal planning. So I'm going to go through the things that work for me. Always, where we come to, the first thing is always, you've got to stock check. You've got to know what's in your house. We go through our freezer, we go through our fridge, our larder, our bathroom, because we buy stuff for the bathroom, our cleaning cabinet. We know what we have in stock, and we do it every single week. It works for us. We know exactly what we've got. Okay, let's talk stock rotation. I clean out my larder once a week. I check through my freezer every week. Now, when I bring goods back, when I bring food back, I take out what's in there and I put the new in underneath in the freezer or behind in the larder. So then I make sure I'm using what I've already got first. So that's either on top in the freezer or at the front in the fridge or at the front in my larder. Best piece of advice I can give to anybody so you know what you've got and you use it up is rotate your stock. Okay, because I rotate the stock, because I do a stock check and I know what I've got, periodically we have no spend weeks. That means if I don't need anything that week, I don't go shopping. If all I need is milk, that's all I buy. If all I need is half a kilo of butter, that's all I buy. So I don't go shopping if I don't need it because I know what I've got and I'm making sure that I'm using up what I have. Let me ask you a question. Do you have a shopping day? Do you always go on a Saturday morning? Is it always Friday night after work? When is it? Do you always have a shopping day? Because here's another point with us. We have no fixed shopping day. So we don't go every week, for example. We might stretch it to 8 days, 9 days, 10 days. We don't have a set day. We are weather dependent. If the weather's good, we might find things to do that are far more fun than shopping, or we get out in our garden. But we don't have a set shopping day. Are you a creature of habit? Do you shop the same day every week and therefore maybe get into the habit of going shopping when you don't need to? Well, we don't do that. We do not have a fixed shopping day. Now, there's something that we do here, maybe where I do it more in France than I used to do in the UK, but our food prices here are affected seasonally. So I eat seasonally. In the winter, for example, I eat what's in season. If it's cabbage and carrots, we're eating cabbage and carrots. Right now, it's salad season. The vegetables that I would cook, I now buy frozen throughout the summer because fresh, they're way too expensive. I'm not paying those prices. I buy what's in season. It's cheaper that way. We eat seasonally. So here's the next thing we do, and this might not be very popular with some people. You might not want to hear this and you might not like it, but here goes. We eat what we can afford. So let me give you an example. My shopping list will say meat. So if I'm in the supermarket and casserole beef is cheap, I buy that. If beef ribs are cheap, I buy that. If chicken is cheap, I buy that. I don't go in there thinking like, ooh, I fancy this, or ooh, I fancy that, or ooh, that looks nice. I buy what I can afford. Now that also means, and this is the unpopular bit, you might not like this, but anyway, here goes. We don't buy what we can't afford. Back in the UK, joints of meat were common, and as a British person, nothing I love more than roast beef, roast lamb, roast pork with my roast potatoes. French don't eat that, so those things are expensive. So guess what? We don't eat that here in France. There's lots of things that are very popular that we don't eat, that we don't like. We don't eat. We love shellfish. We can't afford it. We don't eat it. We love steak. It's too expensive. We have that for wedding anniversaries, birthdays and Christmas. It's a treat. We love prawns. We can't afford them. We don't eat them. We love salmon. We can't afford it. We don't eat it. You can see where we're going with this, can't you? Alcohol. Even though wine is cheap here in France, you keep buying a bottle of wine each week. It adds up. It adds up. It adds up. We have a bottle of wine. It is a treat. It's birthdays. It's Christmas. It's very, very seldom. We're not buying snacks, we're not buying crisps, we don't buy chunks of cheese to eat as nibbles, we're not eating saucisson, we're not having apéros. All of that adds up and up and up and up. We save that for times like Christmas, birthdays, anniversaries, very occasional treats. Just think about this. If you're doing this every Friday night, it's not a treat, it's a regular occurrence. And a regular occurrence is not a treat. We're not buying Coca-Cola, we're not buying soft drinks, thinking we're not buying, we don't buy ice creams, we're not buying yogurts, we're not buying puddings. We can't afford it, we don't buy it. Some people don't want to hear that, do they? So there's a best piece of advice for anybody. Eat what you can afford, and if you can't afford it, don't buy it. Now the next one is a bit different, and it's quite special to our life here in France. We live 20 minutes away from a major town, and when we get there, if I drove to 4 supermarkets, I could do that in 5 minutes. So I have absolutely no supermarket loyalty, and when I do my shop, I do not do it all in one supermarket. I'm going to run through the supermarkets I go through, and I'm going to say them the English way and the French way to help people watching. I go to Leclerc, and I buy things there like laundry liquid, toilet rolls, bread. I know what's on offer there. I know what's cheaper there. I go to places like Lidl, and I buy all our toiletries. I buy our cleaning products there, freezer bags, foil, all of those things, much, much cheaper in Lidl. The bulk of my shopping I do in the cheapest supermarket. It's called Netto. It's cheaper for ham, it's cheaper for cheese, it's cheaper for butter, eggs, milk and frozen goods. It's the cheapest place. But I buy all my vegetables in the Intermarché, and I buy them all from there because they are such good value. They do not go off and they will last the week. There's no point buying it cheap if it's going to go off. So you can see I have a planned route. It doesn't take me very long. I'm like a ninja. I'm in, I'm out, I'm shop, I'm gone. So I have no supermarket loyalty. I shop around, I know where I'm going and what I'm going to get and where I'm going to get it from. Now, if you're not new here and you've been watching our videos regularly, you know I meal plan. I have been meal planning for all the 25 years Mike and I have been together. And I've done it all of that time out of necessity. In the early days, because we were so poor, we had to make the smallest amount of money go the longest way. We've continued to do that and we've got better and better at it as we are budgeteurs. And we also want an easy life. I meal plan and make my life simple. I often cook a meal and we have it 2 days running. If I bother myself to make a lasagna, I'll make one, we'll eat it tonight, we'll eat it tomorrow, all out of one lasagna dish. And a whole nother lasagna dish with a whole nother lasagna in it is in the freezer. So I menu plan and I double cook and I freeze. I want my menu plan to work for us and make it simple. Now, for all of those people out there who are saying, I find it difficult to menu plan, make it work for you. Make it simple for you. You may not be a cook, but you can keep frozen pizza in the freezer. You can keep those things there that you know are just there for the nights that you don't want to cook. You might have, quite simply, some frozen bread rolls, a couple of tins of soup. You do not have to make it complicated. What works for me and what could work for you to keep that supermarket budget down, down, down is menu planning. Right, let's talk supermarket own brands. Now, I know there are going to be people out there going, I only like this brand and I only like that brand. Well, you know what? Often they're exactly the same for the market leader as the supermarket. Sometimes they are exactly the same. You can have blind testing and people will often, they cannot tell one brand from another. They absolutely can't. Now, something I have always done, and I do exactly the same here in France. I buy the supermarket's own brand cleaning products, toiletries, coffee. I don't buy any brands of anything. To me, bread is bread, butter is butter, ham is ham, cheese is cheese, eggs are eggs. I just buy the supermarket own brands. And you know what? There's plenty of people whose families who will be groaning and moaning about this. Now, there's 2 meals that you can serve to people and this won't do them any harm. One of those meals is take it or leave it. And the other meal is called shut up and eat it. So, put the food on the plate in front of them. If it's a supermarket owned brand, they don't know what it is. You haven't served it up in the packet. Works for us. Could work for you. Could do. Most people can't tell the difference. So there's a big saver for us. We have always used supermarket owned brands. Now, let's talk about the way that a supermarket will scupper your plans, suck you in, rip open your handbag, open your purse and take your money. Because that's their job. Their job is to make as much money out of you as they possibly can. That means they want to sell you the most profitable products. And where do they put them? Where it's obvious, where it's easiest to get them, where it's the first thing that you see. The supermarkets in France, the moment you go through the door, it's all the special offers. They're all brands. They're all fancy brands. They're often cellophane 2 together. They suck you in. They all want to do that, don't they? So know that. Take a deep breath when you're going in that supermarket. Know They want your money. Your job is to give them only the money you want to spend and buy exactly what you want to buy. So remember this. Remember this. If it's not on the list, it's not going in that shopping trolley. You didn't need it before you came in, that thing that says special offer, buy me, buy me, buy me. You need what's on your shopping list. If it's not on the shopping list, it's not going in. Now you're going to have to walk around and blinky yourself because it's all there. Buy me, buy me, buy me. Your job is to stick to your budget. Your job is to stick to your meal plan, to stick to your list. You've done your stock check, you know what you need, stick to it. You're in charge of your finances because if you don't take control of it, they will. They absolutely will. And I can tell you something, I was only in Lidl the other day. I saw exactly the brand of laundry liquid that I use. One was €7. If you bought two, the next one was $1.30. And I could have succumbed to that, but I knew I didn't need it. I know that brand of soap is always on offer somewhere. I know I can get the generic one to do it pretty much the same for almost the same price. So let's sum all that up. Let's sum all that up. The supermarket is after your money. They don't care how they trick you. They don't care what they put. Eyeline is byline. End of aisles. If they didn't catch you in the aisle, they'll catch you going round the aisle. They'll catch you going in. But guard yourself. Know that when you're going in. They want as much money out of you as they can possibly get, and it's your job to spend only what you went in for. My parting gift to you is to remind you, if it's not on the list, it's not going in. There we go. Food is expensive, isn't it? It is expensive. It's usually, for most families, it's the second biggest expense next to the roof over your head. And keeping that food budget sensible and reasonable is harder and harder. Just sharing with you how we do it and a few bits of mind what that supermarket is doing to you. Just leaves me to say thank you so much for watching. What I want you to do now is hit that like button, please. Let's make sure we get as many in there as possible. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Don't miss our videos. There's plenty more coming out. And thank you so much to absolutely everybody who leaves a comment. Thank you to everyone who watches. We genuinely appreciate every single one of you. Now, if you want to ask another question that might get another video, go on. Ask me a budgeting question. I'm all for it. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again. Bye-bye.